They used to live a lot longer than they do now. Now, 2 or 3 years would be pretty good.
Wow.
A year or two is more typical. And if you don't want your bees to swarm, if you're keeping your bees in a suburban area, you may choose to requeen every year to help minimize the chance that they will swarm. If you have neighbors, or if you have allergic neighbors,
If you just put an empty, hive next to it, would they just maybe move next door?
they might. When a swarm leaves, it likes to move some distance away. I mean, the other evolutionary pressure here is to, spread out. So we do put out empty hives, and we call them bait hives, hoping that the swarm that I don't see coming out will decide to go into that box over there, and
Or
won't that be tidy?
Or my swarm could go to you.
Or my
You have
swarm
the
could go to
bait.
you, exactly, that's right. So you can put out boxes and hope that a swarm will just come on in.
And they're just empty the way you bought it. You put it out like
You
that.
could just put them in, they're just empty. They sell little test tubes of swarm lure, which smells good to the bees, and that'll get some scouts interested in coming to check out this space, and then, if I'm with the swarm and I find this excellent space, I'm gonna go back and tell the other bees about it. You know how the bees dance to tell each other things. They'll dance.
What do you think about the colony collapse disorder?
I think it's terrible. We don't know enough about it. I think it's highlight a couple of things. It's highlight how important bees are to our food supply. That's like the good news. Everyone's a lot more appreciative of the need for bees. It's also highlight how little we know about bees. I think it's also underscored how much we don't understand where the chemicals that we put into our environment go. Because we have been treating our bees for the mites that came in 20 years or so ago, and we started off with the only thing we could find, which was a fluvalinate, a synthetic pyrethrin, and we've used some other chemicals, and now, just like farmers are, we're trying to use softer chemicals, more natural, mechanical methods, and avoid chemicals and use more natural chemicals, because there's a lot of residues that build up in our wax from those first things that we use. And so we're putting chemicals into the hive, and then the bees are going out into the field and encountering who knows what, and bringing it back. And wax is a lipid. Wax absorbs and retains. It's all of these things, and now you're trying to raise baby bees in these chemically infused beeswax combs. It's not good. So probably some combination of these things is what has led us to colony collapse disorder. That and trucking them. I mean, someone was telling me the other day he went to Florida and talked to some migratory beekeepers, the ones with the black beds of trucks.
Yeah.
They take their bees 12,000 miles a year.
Right.
They go from Florida to California for almonds, and then to Maine for cranberries and blueberries on down the coast, and it's just.
And it could be upsetting their whole. They're not really meant.
Well, it could be, and if they're in a field of almonds, they're only getting almond pollen for that time, and that's not a complete diet. Their normal diet would be a variety of flowers and different pollens, have different amino acids and different everything. So taking them, having them eat only almond pollen and then only blueberry pollen and then only, that's not natural. So all of these things together have probably brought us to colony collapse disorder. So it's good that we're figuring it out, maybe taking a little bit better care of our bees.
And our
The whole
bats.
canary in the coal mine thing, if the bees are suffering, we don't understand what's happening to us and our children and our plants.
You mentioned that this was a starter hive, but then you talked about putting hive. Do you get more?
A regular kit, like if you were to buy a beekeeping starter kit,
Right.
it would probably have at least 2 of the wider boxes that comes with it. So when I was talking about a few $100 to get started, that's for the complete hive, through the whole brood chamber, and outer cover and all of that. And the startup kits also usually include just a smoker, a hive tool, a veil.
Are you going to talk about the smoker?
Sure.
Could you just back up for one